Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and welcome to another ENFP male interview. Today, I get to interview Annie. So, Annie, welcome.
Hello.
Annie, so we spoke a while back, and you got your type back a while ago. But what did you think? How did you feel when you got your results back then?
Yeah, I like it was obvious to me that that was my type already. I when I had put my interview on the Facebook groups, a lot of people were coming at back with TE and I was like, "Oh, that'd be cool." But like, no, that's a dream. like every lame MBTI test I've ever taken, it's always been ENFP. I think I'm like the baseline ENFP.
Yes, I wanted to tell you that actually is that you
Yeah,
are you are the MBTI ENFP. Like
I
there,
know. Like
like
how disappointing.
yeah, like everything about you is the MBTI. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
what was your full type again? By the way, I don't think we
Double feminine, NEFI, consume, play, sleep, blast.
Right. Yeah. So that is that's like the pure blood ENFP because you have like the
Yeah.
double masculine saviors.
Yep.
Blast last, which is like the blast is like IJ, right? Which is the opposite of EP. So yeah, and so you are so now that you are, I know you said you're a little bit disappointed that you're the stereotypical.
Well, like I feel like my entire life has been me desperately trying to like get outside of trends and like so of course I am the stereotype
Yeah.
because my entire life has been me running from stereotypes. So it's just a middle finger from the universe. I also love my type. So I'm saying this, I'm double deciding.
Yes.
Like I love it and I know that it's such a joke.
So you said that, I guess from what I can get from you, you want to be unique and different. You don't want to be
Oh my
like,
God.
yeah.
Yes.
And then now you are, the stereotype. You are like the common ENFP, and then
Yeah.
like a, you know, like a low blow essentially.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. But now that you've come to terms with it, because you also like your type, right? So,
Right.
how has it been that? So Dave and Shan said that if you want to stand out based on your type, then you gotta be the one that is doing like the fourth animal of your type, because no one else is doing that. So if you want to be special and different, then you got to be doing something special and different.
Mm-hmm.
Yourself practicing that double feminine ST blast that you have at the bottom there, or is it still hard?
I am like, I'm still trying to get a grasp for how I can even possibly do that. Um, and that's something I think about every day. So I'm thinking about it, but I'm maybe not doing it. Like when Dave and Shan talked about how what's like we think our last animal's holding us back, but it's or our we think our last function's holding us back. It's actually the animal. Like that slapped me because I'm definitely like terrified of doing anything I'm gonna suck at. And yeah, blast last is the worst.
They released a video recently. I don't know if you saw it, but they're talking about like they were making fun of EPs and stuff.
Yes.
There
Yeah,
was,
there were like 4 videos.
yeah, there's 4 videos making fun of EPs, right?
Yeah.
And then there was like one particular video. I don't know if you resonated with it. They're talking about like how the double activate consume EPs. I guess they're scared of like the person controlling them, the blaster.
Right.
Did you resonate with that video, and do you feel like you are afraid of someone trying to control your life and someone trying to like put you in a box and tell you what to do?
Yes, definitely. And even more so, the idea of like not knowing they're doing it is terrifying. Like nightmares. There's somebody controlling me and I don't even know it. That is like, baseline ENFP, my worst fear.
What is scary about that, if you don't mind sharing?
What's not? I don't know. Like, just, yeah, like literally the missing information of there is some like sci-fi movies, people have like, chip implants and they're being controlled And like, I can imagine a future where that happens, and I can spiral on that, like major stereotype spiraling on at, like when people freaked out about get vaccinations could have microchips. I don't believe that. I also understand the insanity that that comes from, because like, how would you really know?
Yeah. Um, so I guess being boxed in is also a form of someone trying to get you to be like a generic person, you know, like
Mhm.
kind of like anti self-expression, anti
Yeah.
um, you know, like freedom of expression, freedom of how you want to live your life. But you're in the US, right?
Mhm.
So the US is already the country with the most freedom of expression and speech, because you could go to another country where it is a dictator and you don't have any of that stuff.
Yes.
But so you already have this freedom, better than most people. But
Mhm.
what is the lure for you to still want to be as unique and different as possible? Like what do you get out of it? Like why do you want to be different and unique?
Right. Yeah. And I like, I've never thought about that before, because it's just kind of like how I exist. Um, but definitely the boxed in. Um, I want to also, I think it's pretty egocentric. Like, I want people to notice me and how fantastically weird I am. Like, I say that and hate myself, but I'm like trying to be honest. It's definitely there. Uh, like wanting to be noticed, that sort of attention. I mean, high school, I went to a Catholic high school. I live in Kansas, very conservative. The like uniforms, and like I was in detention every day because of my hair or like whatever.
Yeah.
So like things that are, I was not, shooting up heroin in the bathroom, but I was still like a bad kid because of that. But I like lived off of that. Was exciting. Um, I just totally derailed that whole thing. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. You're supposed to be you. So if you're channel changing, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as a
Oh my
each level.
God. No, it probably would be good for me for somebody to put a microchip in my brain to like focus me. So like worst fear, but like maybe they should.
Yeah. I'm just listening to you talk, and we're both ENFPs, but we are so different.
I
Uh,
know.
like I think the DI part of the ENFP makes you quite. I think that's the very specific flavor of it, because when you're saying about the uniforms and whatnot, I was thinking about.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? If I went to school where I had to wear a uniform, that would not bother me at all. Just because I don't have to think, because I'm thinking about with the ST and the NT, like I don't have to think what to wear the next day. So for me, it's like efficient, you know?
Yeah. And it totally is.
Yeah. So I can relate to other stuff. You said you were in detention all day because of your hair. I was also in detention all day though when I was in high school too. So I'm still like, we're still the same.
We're still the Joker.
Yeah. But for me, I'm always late for class. That's why I went to detention. So, you
Yeah.
know, so yeah, I'm like, okay, so we still have that. We share the chaos thing, but it's different though. It's not like, for me, it's like being irresponsible and EP, and then for you, it's like I want to be unique and different. Middle
Yeah.
finger to you if you're trying to tell me how I should be.
Right. Exactly.
But I want to go back to the question earlier, going back to the video that they made in the class about EPs being scared or of the blaster trying to control you and stuff. Um, One of the things that they said was the reason why you're scared of that is because you don't blast yourself. You don't actually know how hard it is to keep things in order. Um, have you ever went to that other side to kind of see what it's like to be the blaster, the person that like builds things up, and then see how
Mm.
difficult it really is? And then when someone is causing chaos while you're trying to keep things in order, like you're the one now in charge of that. Because in life,
Yeah.
it's all about empathy, right? And if you don't know the perspective of the other side, then you can't really be a good human being. So, um,
Yes.
have you ever tried to control something because it's part of your job, your day job, whatever,
Yeah.
or you're a mom now, right? So for your kid, and then
Yes.
it's just causing chaos, and you're like getting stressed out and stuff. Like how have you? What does it feel like to be on the opposite side based on some of the experience that you've had? Having to do that.
Yeah. I used to be a dog trainer and teach dog training classes. And that's absolute chaos because like you can't tell dogs to stop. You can, but like, I mean, that's the point of the class. And then like their owners are idiots. And so you're trying to like very nicely get everyone to shut up so that you can teach them how to take care of their dog so it doesn't end up in a shelter. So like I cared about it, but I definitely had to control that nonstop the whole time. And like that took some getting used to. Also just being a manager in a retail store, like very satisfying when people ask to speak to the manager and I walk up because like I can be so nice, it's disgusting. I mean, like feminine ST, I'm really nice to work with. Like,
Yeah,
but
right.
so like I could do it. It was really hard, really hard. And I have blasters in my life who I definitely call on all the time to help me with this stuff and try to learn from them. But it is a slow process.
Did you become a little bit less freaked out about someone controlling you once you were the person in charge of controlling because now you've seen it on the other side?
Yes. Yeah. Well, and like at least at work, like I can understand why they are doing that and I don't necessarily feel controlled. I think oftentimes my feelings would get hurt more often than the like feeling of control because I could understand why they needed to control me. School, it just depends. Like I get it if my grades are terrible, which they were. Yeah, I should probably be in trouble for that. But like wearing the wrong socks. So just things that I felt were pointless were the things that I pushed on. Um, and I don't know that I ever like was able to fully understand why all of that control was necessary.
Um, from what I'm hearing from you, it sounds like you're actually not scared of TE control. You're more scared of FE control.
Yeah.
Because you said that at work you're okay with it. So that means if someone at work is going to try to tell you how you should do your job, you're like, whatever, it's fine.
Well, they're probably right.
Yeah. But when someone's trying to tell you to behave a certain way with the FE, like what is appropriate or
Yeah.
what you should value, then that's when you freak out and that's when you can't stand it. So can you talk about that instead? Like the FE trying to get you to adhere to what is
Yeah.
appropriate?
Oh, yeah. What did you just say? You said like values I should adhere to, and immediately I was like, oh,
Yeah.
shivers.
And how you should
Like, yeah. Yes. Like what my values should be. Now, like I said, I went to Catholic school. There was a lot of like, this is what you should believe, like to the death, which was hard. But I don't even understand how to wrap my head around it. Also, like I feel like I suck at communicating. And if you ever have to like tell me like, hey, stop, you're in outer space, just please do that. But no, somebody trying to tell me how to behave, like they totally could be right in a work setting. I feel like people who are in charge often, not always, often they're there because they have been there, they know how things should be running smoothly. That's beautiful. That's what we need to run a business. But to police a person's emotions and values is terrifying to me. And I don't even know how to break it down more than that. I'm sure I can. I don't know. It's just like terrifying.
I like how you this perfectly describe in your own words. FI and TE, because TE is like non-personal work, so who cares? It's work. I'll work with anyone. I don't care. It's just to make ends meet, right? But then for
Yeah.
FI, it's like no, what I like, what I value, is important to me. So butt off,
Yes.
leave me alone. And I don't tell you how you should
Yeah.
live life. Why are you telling me, right? So
Although I do find myself telling people that their values are wrong, which is like the exact thing I'm freaked out by.
so you're
So
being a hypocrite sometimes.
yeah, because I do have such strong values. And if somebody pushes on one of those, it's hard to be okay with that. My dad and I, oh my gosh, he's NETI and he loves poking all of my values. It's getting fights.
With his SF, with his SF blast, maybe. Yeah.
He's probably, I don't know if he's blast or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I did notice that the ENTPs that have blast in their first three can be a little bit preachy on how you should live your life. Jordan Peterson's a good example of that. I know some ENTPs are gonna get butthurt, so you can make fun of us back. It's okay. But
yeah.
but I'm just saying, like, they can get a little bit preachy on that SF blast, like how we should behave and stuff. You expect it with our ISFJs, but the ENTPs, it's kind of weird when it comes up.
Yeah.
It almost comes more like strong than the ISFJ. I guess for the ISFJ, it's like in the savior state. So
fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like my dad. Interesting.
So I can relate to a lot of things that you said. For me too, it's the FE that I get more like angry about, if someone's trying to tell me how to behave a certain way. I had a manager at work that looks like one of the ESFJs that they type in class, like the spitting image of her. It's that ESFJ lady that figured out her TI. I forgot her name. I always forget people's names. It's
yeah, with the white hair.
Yeah, the white hair one. Yeah.
Somebody will know.
Yes, okay, we both know who we're talking about. So I have a manager that looks exactly like her, even has the white hair, the same face and everything. And she's always trying to tell me to adhere to behavioral stuff. And I think one of the things that she said to me before was like, Kendrick, even if I'm wrong, just nod your head, And I'm like, okay,
okay.
I'm like, okay, fine. At least you're clear.
Yeah.
What you want.
If that's all you need, I can give you that.
Yeah. Because after she said that, I'm like, okay, fine. As long as we're clear. She doesn't want to be right. She doesn't care about what's right. She just wants to, the emotional vibe has to be good. And I'm like, okay, you're the boss. At least you're clear. I always appreciate honesty. So the fact that she's honest at what she wants, I'm like, okay, I'll give you what you want. Sure.
And like, it blows my mind that people can even, because I can think I know what's socially acceptable. I don't. I absolutely don't. Some of the jokes I make in public, like to children, no. And the lead FEs in the room like shrivel up.
Well, it's I feel like FI's hit or miss, because the FE will shrivel up. But if that offensive joke that you crack out turns to be a big hit, then look around and then they'll accept it really quickly, right? So I think the FE, so they'll like shame you 1 minute, but if everyone loves it, then they'll like, oh yeah, you're great, and you're like, what the hell, you just shamed me a second ago, So,
it's beautiful.
But our TE is probably the same thing, It's like, hey, maybe we should do this, and someone said that's not right. We're like, oh, okay, we can do that other thing instead, and we don't care, right? And then for the TIs, it's like, huh? How did you change your mind so quickly? It was like, we don't care as long as it works. Yeah, as long as it works, that's all that matters. Okay, you're double masculine as your first animal, and it's NF. It's double masculine, NF consume. I see consume as having self-awareness from an external perspective, but it's also having meaning in your life and purpose. And the way I see it personally, because I have demon consume, so when I was growing up, I did not use I did read, like, I read a lot of books and stuff, but I feel like I didn't use the true NF consume. And I feel like NF consume is really having a new experience and using the new experience to gain a sense of meaning and purpose in your life. It's kind of like a battery, or like to give you motivation to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Do you find that when you personally seek out new experiences, whether that be traveling or um, taking a new class or something or whatever, that you gain a new sense of motivation, purpose, and you're now excited to live your life and you have something to look forward to? Like, do you get that energy from the NF consume, or do you feel like you don't and it's you get it from someplace else?
Yeah. Okay. Let me try to talk through this because I don't know the answer. So, and I'm still working out the terms. But when I feel a lot of like a battery when I'm able to consistently work on the thing that I care about. And that's often a lot of learning. Like right now I'm trying to figure out how to publish my book. And so I'm doing a ton of like Skillshare classes on all of the like learning how to market yourself and things that are terrifying to me. Um, and I love taking the classes because it's not necessarily like jumping right in and failing, but like, I don't know. Hold on, give me a second. I'm trying to like catalog these things, all of my thoughts. NF consume. I mean, I feel like I'm doing it so much that I can't even see it.
That's probably what's happening, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
so autopilot. Okay, let me ask you a question in a different spin to this question.
Okay.
When you are going to Skillshare and you are consuming all these lessons on how to do things, what is your attention span like when you're consuming those information? Because
Yeah.
you're lead consume, so you're going to be very aggressive at gathering information, but then you have to kind of focus and stay still for several hours to get through all the materials.
Yeah.
And ENFPs, the stereotype is that they never finish what they start. So they'll open a lot of
Right.
doors, but they won't close any doors, or they won't finish what they start. So if you're
Mhm.
consuming a lot of stuff, are you actually going through the entire lesson, or are you watching like halfway through and then you channel change to a different lesson?
Yeah. So for the first time in my life consistently, I have been like actually finishing these things. Mind blowing. Never before. I'm 30. I'm finally like, I've watched like 5 Skillshare classes and did the projects for all of them. Never happened before. But I will find myself like making it halfway through a program and then being like, I don't like this. I don't like the way this person is teaching this, and like go try to find another one instead of just finishing it out, because I probably would learn a lot from it, even if it doesn't like vibe with me perfectly. So that I find that really frustrating. Like I know that I could just finish that. But consistently, I have been able to stop myself from doing that much more than ever before. Still happening, but better.
I feel like not finishing something that you're not vibing with is actually a good thing.
Okay.
Because I finished 2 books last year that I completely hated. And
No.
after
No.
I finish it, I got like one nugget from both books. It's like one nugget, and I was like, oh my god, that was a waste of time. I should have just dropped it. So
Yeah. Okay.
so I don't think you're doing anything wrong, because sometimes if for us specifically with the NEFI, I feel like if we don't resonate with the material, I don't think it's gonna sink in, because we don't care enough for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And maybe I just want to like not have that be my reality. I would love to be one of those people who could like read anything and finish it off and get something from it. But you're right. If I don't like it, it's not soaking in. I'm just thinking about how I don't like it.
it sounds like earlier. So earlier you also said that you tend to get motivated by things that you personally value.
Mhm.
And then the consume is more like a tool to
Yes.
for you to create what it is, that thing that you care about. So it sounds like that the boss is the SF, the SF sleep then, like what you value personally. So can you talk about how everything revolves around that SF sleep for you? Like, because you use NF consume as a tool already, but we still have play and blast. So how does those three functions serve that SF sleep of yours? Like what you value personally, and how do you see yourself consuming, engaging with a tribe, and also producing something like like right now you're creating a book, right? How do you see those three together, serving your personal interests and hobbies and whatnot?
Yeah. Okay. SF sleep. I feel like Michael Scott. Explain it to me like I'm 5. But SF is what I personally value. What is that? That sounds like F. What's the S?
It's SI,
God. And I feel so disconnected from SI. Okay. I'm sorry. I need examples of what SF sleep is.
Okay, I'll give you a few examples.
Thank you.
One thing that ENFPs do, or people that have this function stack, so ESTJs, ICJs, and INFPs are doing this also, is they use the SI to kind of go back in the past and relive some of the past experience that they've had, and using the FI to kind of make a gauge of if it was something valuable to you, if there was some takeaways from it. It's because you're re-feeling some of those emotions as well. So what made you feel bad, what made you feel good, and using your SI to comb through your past experiences, you can come up with a conclusion at the end of what makes you feel good and what doesn't make you feel good, and you can really hone it down to the narrowest point. Like for me, for example, I'll just use give you some ST specific examples. Like I'm in my late 30s now. I know I don't look like it, but I'm in my late 30s. So I comb through the past and I'll be like, okay, what made me happy is travel, playing console games with my friends or by myself, and having a kitchen that has an island, like an island kitchen. Like it's very specific.
Yeah.
Like I want that
No,
island
that's
kitchen.
really specific.
Yeah, no, I don't want the kitchen with like the countertop where you cut the stuff is just on the side, right, where the sink is. I want the middle one.
Yes.
So, and that makes me happy. And then I just like kind of go back in the past and think at all the stuff. Like for video games that I play, I like specific genre. For for workouts, I like to do specific kind of workout that what was the most effective and I also didn't hate. So so that's kind of like what SF sleep is. You kind of go back to past and kind of figure out what you care about the most, and also getting away from things that makes you feel bad, like whatever toxic, toxic relationships, toxic environments, toxic workplaces. So it's a lot of that, going back to the same event over and over again and reliving it, until the FI comes up with a conclusion for yourself.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I feel like I do that easily on some things. So if there's something that I obsessively love, like writing fiction, that's been like the one thing I've always wanted to do. I can look at that process and go back and see how I've done it in the past and easily know what about it was enjoyable, what about it was terrible, and how can I make it more efficient. But then other things, if it's not something that I'm like really honed in on, even like relationships with people, I can't always easily go back and see like, okay, this was toxic and this was fantastic. Or like in my head, it's all very much woven together. And I have a hard time piecing that apart. It feels like it doesn't work very well.
But you are visual, so can you not go back in the past and see images of stuff that happened?
Yeah, I can, yes. And like, yeah, and I definitely can hold, this might just be an FI thing, but like holding something that happened in a relationship, like I will every time we have a fight or something, that thing will come back up. That seems like just FI stacking. I don't know. I think I just don't get SI.
Well, I mean, they always make fun of your type in the class, right? They say the consume, play, sleep blast are the most pain to talk to hear them talk because it's
Yeah, because there's nothing in there.
no, because it's not like consume sleep, or like they process their feelings already.
Oh
and
my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, or like the sleep blast at least is info dominant, so they're clear.
Mhm.
But the consume, play, sleep blast, they're not clear and they're unprocessed. So it's like
Yeah, yes. No, I feel like I have to walk around it like 15 times before I actually find what I'm trying to get at.
yeah, I've had that experience talking to the consume, play, sleep blast. I'm like, oh my god, talk to me for 20 minutes. I could have said what you said in one sentence.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's the worst.
Um, I don't even know what you're supposed to do in that case. It's that your type is so weird. It's like a weird. How do you function in real life?
No, I don't. That's the answer.
Yeah.
I have people that I will call and say, help, I don't know what I'm doing. But I do listen to their advice. That's nice.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm curious though, from a relationship standpoint, if you are double activate consume, chances are the people that you will attract in your life would be the double activated blast, so the consume blast. Um, Based on that kind of relationship, how do you feel when you talk to someone that is like a super I call them blaster motherfuckers, like they're just blasting their ass off and they're not consuming anything and they're just like teaching nonstop. But those are the people that I would assume that you would attract because of your specific type. So what is your relationship like with those kind of individuals, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, one of my absolute best friends, I haven't figured out exactly what her functions are. I think we have the same functions in a different order, but I know that she is blast, play, sleep, consume, last. And I mean, it's magical. She can just jump into things and do them without knowing anything about them. Like, it seems like a superpower. I don't know. I want that. I like to not be so afraid of failure because like everybody's going to fail anyways, so you might as well figure it out in the process. Whereas I sit there and like watch 20 Skillshare classes before starting the project. And sometimes if I watch too many Skillshare classes and then I'm bored with it and I never start the project.
Yeah.
If I could have just started it.
I feel like what you're describing is something that also happens to me. And I think it's like more like an EP syndrome. Because in my YouTube channel, I've always wanted to do like some kind of a cartoon-ish comedy for adults. And I already have the script in my head of what the storyline is going to be. And I replay in my head how the interaction is going to happen and stuff. And I'm like laughing my ass off while I'm thinking about it. But the problem is, after I picture it in my head, I don't want to do it now because I've already seen it and I want something new. and because it's stupid EP, right? And I feel like if I were to recreate what I had in my head in a cartoon form and publish it out, for me, I feel like it's gonna be boring because I've already seen the punchline. But the truth is, no one has seen it, and
nobody's seen it.
Yeah, it might still be fun for the other person, and it might not be. It could be crap too. But but the point is, because I've seen it already, I don't want to do it now. So do you feel like, based on what you do personally, like you've gone through all the Skillshare courses, you've imagined in your head how you're going to construct it, and now you don't want to do it anymore because you've already seen kind of.
Yeah.
Now you're bored.
Well, first of all, you haven't actually seen it. You've only imagined it.
Right.
And it will be totally different. Like, I went to art school, had to make paintings and stuff, and I always saw them in my head and then was like, same exact thing, like it's boring now. And I had a teacher who was like, you need to do it anyways. That is an incredible lesson. But it hasn't transferred to any other parts of my life. yeah, no, like, for example, I'm trying to figure out how to build a website. I'm terrified of it. I suck at it. I have this great vision in my head about how magnificent and fun my website's going to be. And then I start trying to build it, and like I immediately want to give up because it's just so sad. Like, this is a website nobody wants to see. And it feels like I'm never going to actually get there, never going to have all of the information to make this magnificent website. And then by the time I do, like, we won't even have websites anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's possible.
I know.
I can relate to your story though, because I have a travel blog and I did build my website at first and I wanted to give up as well, kind of like the same story as you. I pushed through that feeling a few times, and I don't know if you read the book by I just finished a book by David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. I don't know if you read that book or not, but
No, I haven't.
oh, amazing. You should read it for sure. 100%. It's my
Right.
like in my life, it's easily in my top 3 most favorite book of all time. Yeah, and
Ew.
I don't say that lightly. I think for us with FI, I think it's definitely something that resonates. But anyways, you know, this guy's crazy. He does a lot of crazy ultra marathons. You know, like 100-mile marathons with like no training. He'll just do it without practice. It's like just sheer.
And then die? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. I mean, he's near death at the end. Like he's, you know, peeing like brown things out of his, you know, privates, and then he's like, you know, he's you know, sorry, I know you're.
I know where pee comes from.
Yeah. I was info dominant. And then you know, his feet is trash and his body's destroyed, and you know, he's sick, vomiting and stuff. And but he still did it. And he talks about like going through like you go to mental blocks along the way, and if you can conquer the mental blocks, you're gonna achieve something you can never imagine. So I feel like for those website thing that we're both encountering, it's kind of like an ultra marathon, except it's like a website, and you're trying to make it like as perfect as you want it to be, but there's always gonna be like a roadblock. You're trying to make something like look the way you want it or function the way you would want it, but you just can't figure it out, and you're like, you want to like jump off a bridge, just like trying to get it done. Yeah, and then so I've been there, and I've actually pushed through, and I did eventually get my perfect website, and by then, and guess what? Whatever you said was right. You know, you said website is not gonna be a thing anymore, but for me, blogging is not a thing anymore.
Oh my God.
So by the time I got my perfect blog, people watches more videos now. Like blogging, it's not dead, but it's on the decline for sure. And I did see my readership start going, and they started going to my YouTube channel instead. I'm like, okay, well, you know, that's life, right? So yes, whatever you said was completely like you predicted it with your NE so accurately. Like, by the time you get it figured out. But also, I don't think it's bad to do it anyways, just because I feel like it's a good training for your FI, for your like for your FI to like never give up, never surrender, no matter what, you know. So I feel like it's still good, you know. So
yeah. Now you can make travel NFTs. I don't know, like whatever's gonna be next. Ugh.
Yeah, apparently a travel blog now is an Instagram. Your Instagram is your travel blog.
Right. You have just take pictures of waterfalls. I don't know.
Yeah, and then you write your text, and then that's a blog. I'm like, that is true. That is a blog. And I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. No wonder no one really blogs are going down, because you can just go to Instagram and that's the blog. I'm like, oh, okay. That makes sense. So okay. I do want to ask you about something. So Dave and Shan, they showcased that ENFP interview with like Dallas and whatnot, their whole gang.
Yeah.
And Dallas said like this amazing thing about, you know, you can't organize the other stuff, but you can organize your FI. Like, who do you want to be as a person? So I want to ask you that question. Who do you want to be as a person? Like if you have like an ideal, ideal you, what does your ideal you look like? What is your ideal you doing? You know, what is your ideal you? What's your surrounding like? Like what does that all look like to you?
Okay, yeah. Well, like as far as accomplishments, or like career, I want to be a full-time author and artist. So like splitting my time up between those two things. and like to the point of being an expert in that, so that I'm not afraid to talk about those things. There's a lot of people who also want to be an artist or an author, and they're like impossible careers that are hard to make money from. And I want to accomplish that and then help other people accomplish that. Outside of that, the person I want to be is the person who can like self-motivate if I don't feel like it, because I've wasted like 8/9 of my life being like not doing things because I haven't had enough motivation, etc. And I also just like want to be able to keep my house clean. Like, how come other people can consistently do the dishes? Like, it doesn't seem like the mountain that it feels like for me to be consistent. So yeah, I want to be a consistent person who perseveres through bullshit. Yeah, there's so many other things, but those are the big things. I want multiple income streams from writing and art. Seems like the best bet, because if I'm only doing one thing, I will lose my mind.
It's also not safe. Just like
Right.
like I have two channels. I have a YouTube and a travel one. And when the pandemic hit, my travel one, which was my main thing, kind of fell on the
Yeah.
side. So if I just focus on that, I would be screwed. So yeah, definitely having two is good, especially if you love both those things.
Yes.
Yeah. Before I ask you the next question, what is your top 5 values, by the way?
Top 5 values. I guess is creativity a value? I really value
it
I
is.
really value creativity and honesty. We got 3 more, man. Like, I am a huge animal advocate. That's something that I think about a lot. I don't just think about it, I like volunteer and stuff. Creativity, honesty, animals, perseverance is a value I have that I suck at. So, I don't know, what's another one? Not being a D-bag. Like being a kind, gentle person that people can open up to.
And then based on those values, looking at your perfect life, what would you have to do for you to embody those values that you hold dear to your, yeah, what would you have to do?
Yeah. I mean, not losing sight of myself and my values, also at the same time putting other people's needs equal with mine. So like as far as business goes, I think it's easy to like sign your life away. Maybe that's just a don't control me bro issue, but that's something that I care about. But at the same time, I also need to like make decisions for my family as well as myself. And then just persevere through all of the bullshit, because if I'm going to be an artist, like that kind of sucks. I currently am an artist, but like I'm making pet portraits for people, and I would much rather do something I want to do. But I can persevere through this right now until I have more of a ability to make 10-foot paintings of, I don't know, donkeys.
Right. My next question is, what do you need to do today to get started embodying all those values that you hold so dear? Like, what do you need to do today? You know,
Today,
to have more perseverance, for example.
Yeah. Well, my goal for this week is to make 10 small paintings and I can start on that tonight. These are things that I can sell to people.
Right.
So I know that I'm going to go home and put my kid to bed and like see the beer in the fridge, think about the beer in the fridge, maybe make nachos. And then after eating nachos and drinking beer, I'm not going to want to make 10 mini paintings. I could like make better choices, maybe like drink water and eat, I don't know, what's healthy, soup. like
Yeah.
like I could make better choices today. Because I need energy. Like at the end of the day, I don't have a lot of energy. And normally that's my fault. You'd think it's because I have a toddler, but it's normally my choices.
And do you think you're going to make the right choice for yourself today?
I mean, I totally could.
But are you going to?
Don't control me.
I'm not. It's you.
I'm
You're controlling
joking.
yourself.
I know. No, you're right. It's self-sabotage. Yes. Yes. I will send you a picture of the soup that I'm going to eat.
Okay.
Oh, God.
No, I'll just be a dick.
No, but like, that's really valuable.
Yeah. No, I can relate to the struggles that you have. It's really hard, because like sometimes you lose sight of what you can do today that
Right.
that can really contribute to the bigger picture. Because it's not like what big thing you do to make your dream come true. It's what small thing you did every day to make your dream come true. And a small thing, it's so easy to shrug off under the rug because it's so small, right? But it's not like you'll still feel bad about yourself if you don't. If you do, like if you look back 10 years from now, I think that's where like the sleep is coming from. Like the saying is like regret is a worse feeling than like getting rejected or whatever, because like the regret lingers, right? Well, if something, if you, let's say you create an art and people think it's just crap and you feel rejected, well, that's only going to linger for a few days or a week, right? And it's not going to last.
Right.
Yeah, but you always regret not achieving or fulfilling something that you really desired, so
yeah. Yes. And like getting rejected, that's someone else. You can't control other people, but like regret comes from the decisions that you made or didn't make,
And I think rejection, it feels bad on the front end, but actually I feel like after the rejection is over and you got a chance to think about it, I think it actually motivates you to work harder. So I feel like it's not really a bad thing. I think rejection actually is, it's a good thing. It keeps you like fueled up, because you don't really want to do anything when your life is already good, right? So it's only when you feel bad that you want to do something. So if you're feeling good, you're eating your nachos, you're having your beer, life is good. So why should you do something else? Life is good already.
No, that's a great point.
Yeah.
And like, I think that like outside of myself, my life has been an absolute shit show. And now that like the life is crumbling, I have gotten so much more done. I've been able to persevere through the absolute madness in a way I never have before. And I hope I can keep it up if things start like getting cushy again.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I hate that. It's such a trap too, because you want to be cushy,
right?
You want to go towards the cushiness. Like for me, if I have like a really comfortable chair and a nice TV and my PlayStation, oh, I'll be so cushy. But then I don't want to do anything else afterwards. So so should I be chasing after that? Because I know where that's gonna lead. It's gonna lead to me being mediocre and just what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of just accepting your circumstance as good enough, which is, the saying is like good enough is the enemy of greatness. And, if you want to do something great with your life where you can look back and not regret, then you have to kind of get rid of the good enough, which is, it's horrible because especially for you, you're energy dominant, right? So you are going to be balancing your energy and you want to be relaxing too, which is not a bad thing. But, as an ENFP, you would be going overboard with that.
Yes. And I do daily.
Yeah. So I guess the magic question is like, if you had to put self-control on yourself before you can relax, because you there's nothing wrong with relaxing, but before you relax, you should do something that feels like you earn your relaxation, right? So what do
Yeah.
you personally need to do for yourself on a regular basis where it's not hard enough that you're gonna not do it because it's such a big mountain, but it's enough that you feel like, okay, I've done something today and I feel like, I'm moving towards the right direction. What would that thing be that you need
Yeah.
to do?
I think, I mean, in the past, it seems like what's worked is taking the time, even if it is 3 minutes, to actually set goals for the day, like doable goals. Because and write them down, because if I think about them in my head, they don't stick around. They're not, I don't remember them throughout the day. I mean, how many, like, every year at the beginning of the year, I buy a planner. I'm like, all right, this is it. I'm gonna have a planner. No, never, it never happens. But even if I can't have a planner and be one of those people that like color codes their day, like at least have 3 things I want to get done. Like even that is so bare minimum. I can definitely do that.
All right. Annie, we're gonna wrap up the interview pretty soon. Is there any last minute questions or comments you have before we wrap it up?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay. So we're chatting right now and we're polar opposites almost, because I'm the weird play blast ENFP.
Yeah.
I'm the only ENFP in the group that has Savior ST. So I see myself as the NF translator, because
Yes.
I have NF and ST in the middle, right? So like when NF people are talking to me, like I know what you guys are saying because I have NF
Mhm.
consume, right? But then and then when there's like a person that's like, what is this person saying? I'm like, okay, this is what this person's saying. And I can ST it, right? So
It's beautiful.
yeah. So I'm wondering, do you have anything that you want to ask for someone that lives in the opposite side of your type
Hmm.
that, because like I
I
said,
guess, well, this is maybe not a relevant question for what you just laid out,
sure.
but something I'm like trying to process is what consume last looks like compared to like sleep last. I think, I don't know. Okay, give me both. Your sleep last, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
My sleep last is double masculine, so I can see my sleep last.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different from someone that might have it double feminine, where they can't even see it, or it's hard to see because you have double feminine ST blast, so it's like it's hard for you to see it, right?
Yeah.
But mine's double masculine, so it's in my face. Like when I fuck up on something, I know what it is that I'm not doing. Like I'm aware, and I'm like, for example, like if I wake up the next day and I'm not doing the work that I need to do for my blog or my YouTube channel, I know it's because I didn't sleep early enough. Now I feel tired, or I
Okay.
slept, so I might have gotten 8 hours sleep, but I didn't sleep at the right time, because even you can get 8 hours sleep, but if you sleep late, you're still not going to feel good the next day, so um and emotional wise, like if I'm feeling bad, then I can still process my feelings. I can be like, okay, um I feel bad when this person rejected me because I feel like I shared something that I valued, and because SF is my sleep, I feel like that is what is important to me, what is personal. So when someone rejected me for something I'm trying to share with them, I felt personally rejected, like it was personal.
Right.
So but if I'm talking about like I don't know, like how we should improve things at work, and trying to share my idea of how to make things better, and someone shits on it, I'm like, I don't really care. It's it's like it doesn't feel as personal. um so because I do have consume over blast as a sleep last person, I feel like when I do something, I'm kind of like the opposite of you. You went to Skillshare to research first. I I will look up research materials, but I'm not going to consume it until I try it out first. So I will try out something first, and yeah, no, I'll have to consume material ready. I'll gather that, but I won't consume it yet. I'll try it. I'll try it myself first, and then
Wow.
and see where I'm getting stuck, right? Like like for example, okay, like okay, I'm not getting enough views, so I'm now going to consume how to get more views, or
Mhm.
I'm trying to get something to work on my website. Well, I don't know how to make it work. I'm going to go consume how to make it work, but I'm going to
Mm.
try it out firsthand first, and then when I hit a wall, that's when I'll consume. And I will consume a lot. Like I will consume like a mountain of information because I'm still info dominant, but I will blast. I will try to produce first before I consume. The produce comes before the consume. Um,
Wow. Yeah.
so and for me, it's more like, yeah, people are gonna mock me. They're gonna say whatever I produce looks like garbage. I know that's part of the deal. Like it is supposed to be like that. Like long time ago, I had a blog. It was so embarrassing, and my friends would FE. They're like, Kendrick, your blog looks embarrassing. Like it just looks like looks horrible, And I'm like, I know, it was on purpose, you know.
Point.
That's all. Yeah, I did it because I wanted to get started. If I don't do this right now, if I try to make it perfect, I'm not gonna have anything. So I'm gonna put
Mhm.
something out there that looks like shit, you know. And if people make fun of me because it looks like shit, that's fine. You can make fun of me. I'm double sided. I can take it. I don't care, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it looks like shit, Kendrick. I'm like, yeah, I'm aware it looks like shit. It is embarrassing. I know, like I'm aware of it. It looks pretty bad, but this there's a process here, like an SITE process, and the SITE process is like I'm gonna keep publishing until
Mhm.
I get to a certain point where I feel like publishing is now a habit. So it doesn't take as much energy for me. So
Yes.
it doesn't take energy for me to keep publishing. I know my website looks like shit, or some people they make fun of my interviews, right? I'll get some messages from people, and we're like, Kendrick, you're asking the same questions to people, like, and I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
we're all
that's
different.
the point.
Yeah.
Like I'm an ENFP. I'm aware of my struggles, and my struggle is being consistent. So I'd rather be consistent and have something that's not the best, but
Mhm.
stay consistent, because I know that as an ENFP, that is going to be the path that's going to lead me to having a higher quality content. Because
Yeah.
I've been doing these interviews now for 2 years or more, and now I feel like it's a habit. Now I don't even think about it, so now it doesn't take any energy for me to do the interviews. So guess
Mhm.
what? Now I can start putting out other content that I want to put together, because this is an area that I've already mastered. I have
Mhm.
tons of room for improvement. I can make my thumbnail better. I can make my headline better for the videos. I can make a website, so there's all the stuff that, that comes into play. But as like an ENFP, I feel like for us, routine equals freedom. And and,
Right.
and if you don't have the routine, then we're not going to get shit done. And for me, the routine was just to interview people, and for my YouTube, for my other my travel stuff, I have a newsletter every 15 days. So I have a newsletter that I publish on the 1st and the 15th or every month. That one I never broke. So that was the habit I was trying to form. And as far as content goes, for the travel one, I'm still doing it like as a side hobby. But as long
Mhm.
as I have one content by the time the newsletter is ready, then I can still continue moving. Is that gonna lead me to success in the short term? Fuck no. Hey, like obviously not, because it's so slow, right? Like I'm not doing what
Mhm.
the blasters are doing. But keep in mind, my demon is not the same as those guys. Like our demon as an ENFP is we're not consistent, and we have nothing to show for that we can be proud of, right?
Yep.
So like just looking at it from that perspective, okay, how can I get to the point where I can create something that I can be proud of, where I can look back when I'm an old person and be like, yes, like it was worth it. It's hard. Well, it's
Yeah.
really just like routines, right? And it's like making, like, allowing yourself to make an ass of yourself, and like, because you're the blast, even though I have it as a savior, it's still the third and fourth function. It's still the bottom, so it's still gonna be shit, compared to, like, it's better
Mm.
than yours maybe, because it's like,
Oh yeah.
it's not fourth, but it's still not gonna be as good as an ISTJ or an INTJ or an INFJ. Like those guys, their blast is like so amazing, right? Like I won't get to that level, but if I chip away at it, it can be still pretty good. So So I feel like, okay, that's kind of like where I'm at. And it honestly, I can tell you it does work, because with my travel blog and my YouTube channel, I did make a little bit of money from it, running it. Because I feel like, yes, even though my headline is not the best, my thumbnail is not the best, my blog post, um, maybe it's, maybe the grammar can be improved. I still had people that read it and watched my videos. And when I did a product launch, um, I made $1,000 on my product launch. Like I did a membership site, so I still made money from it. Which told me that whatever I was producing, even though the packaging was shit, there was still people that was still engaging with that material, that felt it was valuable. So obviously that told me that whatever I needed to work on was not the meat of the thing that I was working on, but the packaging. So for me, the biggest thing I need to work on is the packaging, right? So at least I know that, because I put in the work to produce the content. And now I know what the 80-20 rule, right? Like what is the 80, what is like the one, or like the one rule, whatever. Like what is the one thing you can do to make everything else better? Well, for me, it's the packaging. So I would have not known that if I not had just like done something, right? Even if it was shit,
Right.
like ugly and terrible, it's not going to be easy, but there's always a way. Like for me, like when I was trying to make my website look really nice, and I know it was beyond what I was capable of doing, I went to freaking Fiverr and I hired someone to make it for me. And then I told them what I wanted it to look like. And like, as far as ST goes, of like how I wanted to look like, I just grabbed a link of like every website that I thought was nice. And I kind of told the person that was putting my website together what I thought was nice. So I'm like, okay, I really like this from this website and this from this website. So can you like smush them all together into one website? And the person did.
Totally can. Yeah.
Yeah. And the person did that. And I was like, sweet. And that's like the power of being a double deciders. We're not scared of people. So we can go to Fiverr and hire someone to help us when it's too like ST difficult. So just
oh my gosh. Yes. Like, well, and what you're talking about is incredibly relevant for what I'm trying to figure out, literally with websites and like having some sort of online presence. If you want to be an artist, you have to have an artist website. If you want to be an author, you have to have an author website. I'm hoping that I can weave the two together and get away with that. But like, reading about like newsletters and how you have to have a newsletter, and you're talking about like you're doing these things, it's fascinating to me that you can just do it and like understand that you have to fail at it to learn from it, where I am like terrified, like, okay, I have to put content out every week, and like the idea of coming up with content, it's in my head, it already has to be a masterpiece or it cannot go out into the world, which is vastly unrealistic, right? Like that doesn't exist. Ugh. So I just need to suck at it. Like I need to paint myself a painting that says just suck at it, and look at that every day and pray to it.
Yeah, it's tough, because like, the picture in your head of it being a masterpiece, it's a trap, because I did put out a few videos in the past where I felt like I gave it my all to it's not a masterpiece per se, but I gave it my 100%, right? So in my travel YouTube channel, I made a music video of my 1 year around the world, which it got really positive reactions, but it took me 1 month to put that together. So there was no way I could have I can do that consistently. It's not, it wasn't something that was realistic. I'm glad I did it. It was still worth it. So I kind of did something that was in the maximum, but I also thought to myself, okay, what is the minimum I can do? And it's kind of like what Gary Vee said before. It's like, you never know what people are going to like. Because sometimes I put out something that I only spent like an hour doing. Like seriously, it was like the bare minimum work. And it became more popular than the one that I spent 8 hours on.
Of course.
And so it's like, your perception of something being terrible might not be the perception of the other people. So you never know what's going to be a home run until you put it out there, which kind of is annoying in a way, because like, you'll really value this one thing that you're putting together as a masterpiece, but then you put it out, no one gives a shit. And then you put this one thing out there that you kind of gave no thought to it, and then boom, now it's like a home run, and you're like, oh fuck me, like I've what am I
Yes.
doing? And then you start questioning, like, what am I doing with my life? I can just do this.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like this is what I feel like. I feel like you can do both actually. I feel like in life you kind of go through like a motion of energy where this is now NF talk, but like I feel like in life there's gonna be times in life you feel great, and when you feel great, that's when you start putting together your masterpiece. But I probably that's only gonna happen like 1 month out of like the 12 months. The other 11 months you're not gonna feel that way. You're probably gonna feel like either average or like not so good. So you need to have like a baseline of what you're willing to put out there that is like it's fine as long as you have something out there, and then like at least once a year you have to make one masterpiece. But the minimum is just one. You don't make it one-on-one because you're not gonna do it. You're gonna psych yourself out, and you're gonna feel bad about yourself, because you didn't do it. So I feel like it's having those like inner awareness of like what you can do as the minimum and what is the maximum, that I think is like super important. And you don't know what that is until you start just putting out content,
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. And and you have to, as a matter of fact, I think it's good to put terrible content out first, because then you get over that feeling, like that feeling's like
Oh yeah,
like this is not
that's
up
a
to my
good
standard.
point.
Yeah, because you look at it like this is not up to my standard, but then you're like, but I put something out. You hit publish, right?
Right.
You publish something. It's like, that feels good. I'm now a producer, because like that feels good now that you're no longer a consumer. You're now a producer.
Yeah.
And I can say being a producer feels better than being a consumer. Because there is like that. I don't know how to describe that feeling. It's so weird. It's like when you produce something, there's a lot of hours of boring, monotonous work that you need to do.
Oh, yeah. I know that just from writing fiction. Like there's really great scenes, and then there's like the scenes in between to get to the great scenes. You have to make it all great. Mind numbing.
And as so, but when you're consuming, it's mostly fun, right? Until you're done consuming, now you feel empty. So it's horrible. So it's like a weird paradox, right? Because then when you consume, you feel good when you're doing it, but after you feel like nothing or horrible. But when you're producing, you feel like shit when you're doing it. But when you're done, you feel like, wow, I feel great.
Yeah.
I feel like I did something with my life.
Yeah, that's like exercise versus drinking too much. Feels great, but like actually the exercise is what makes you a living human being.
Yeah, but you need to do both, because I feel like the people that are just blasting, they have no life, and their life is also quite sad. So no offense, to you people that have sad lives.
A little offense.
Just kidding. But like, no, you need to do both. I feel like it's a balancing act. So I feel like for me, I'm lucky that I have blast and consume in the middle, because I can do both. I can do both. It's the play and sleep that I have trouble with, which are decider animals. So that's what I'm working on personally, is like decider issue. But for you, you can borrow what I'm doing, which is the blast and consume in the middle, and I'm like, I didn't realize that how good it is to have blast and consume in the middle until I talk to people that don't have it in the middle, and one is going too crazy with a blast, and their information in the back end is kind of not concrete because they didn't do the consume to validate some of the ideas that they had. Or I mean, it depends on what you're doing too, right? So, but because if you do sports, I don't think you need to consume that much. Just like it's you need to practice mostly. But the point is like, so they both have their use, the blast and consume. So I feel like you need to do both, otherwise your life sucks. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to watch this back like 8 times and take notes on everything you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's in the last 20 minutes, so it's easy. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first like hour is me saying like, I don't know what SF sleep is.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
All right, Annie, we'll wrap up the interview here. Thanks for coming out and doing this interview. I know you had some stuff happening a while back, so it's good that we were able to run this back and make it happen.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care. See you.
Bye.